Hi, I'm Jonathan. This video is part of the ESL205 lesson planning writing assignment. In this video, I'm going to simulate the manner in which I might guide students through the reading comprehension strategy portion of the class, which would be taught via the slide deck presentation, as you'll see in a second. The planned grammar teaching component of the lesson is that of teaching one of two strategies for reading comprehension. And I'd say that the second strategy will be taught next class. So this constitutes the scaffolding from the last lesson, the lesson I'm teaching now. So here's the lesson as I would teach it in slightly abridged form, given that I might otherwise give myself, say, up to 10 minutes to teach this reading comprehension strategy lesson. So here I am in front of the class. There are two main strategies for making reading comprehension, or in other words, understanding what is being read, to make that easier. So the first is what we call skimming and scanning text. And the second is identifying the main ideas and supporting points in the text. We already learned how to write topic sentences and supporting points in our last class. So you're familiar with that. And you will likely already use both strategies when reading text in your native language. So we're going to discuss how to skim and scan text in today's class, and we're going to discuss how to identify main ideas and supporting points in our next class, given that you're already familiar with how to write those. So what is skimming and scanning? So skimming and scanning really are key aids to reading comprehension. They're similar in practice, but are used for different purposes. And I might add that skimming and scanning are normally done first, before you pay any attention to any of the details in the text. So you don't worry about details at this point. You perform skimming and scanning for a different reason. It's really to get the architecture of the text, kind of an idea of where everything is, to put it simply. So what does skimming mean? So it means to read something quickly and superficially, which means just not in depth. Think of skipping a stone across the water. You're skimming it across the water. You're not going down deep. So you're not paying attention to any detail. And you do this so you can understand the general idea or the main message of the text, right? Scanning means that you read something, again, quickly and superficially, but this time it's so you can find specific information like numbers, dates, or facts. Okay, so for two different reasons. So let's talk about skimming for a minute. Skimming text is used to find out what a written piece, which means like a story or a news article or research paper, something that's written, what it's all about. What idea or information is it trying to communicate, for example. So you do this again without paying attention to any of the details yet, right? It helps you decide whether you want to read the written piece at all and then in more detail, right? So what do you look for in order to skim text? Well, you look for titles, you look for headings, subheadings, you look for introductions and conclusions. You might look for the first and last sentences of paragraphs. You could look for keywords and photos, as you saw in the article that you read before the class about the Halifax explosion. There's lots of photos. All of these provide quick clues about meaning, right? You don't have to read any detail to understand from all of those things that you're looking for where things are, what I call the architecture of the text, like where the rooms are, where everything is configured. Scanning text, you use that to locate important information in the text without, again, paying any attention to detail at this point. It involves moving your eyes to quickly locate specific words or fact, for example. Most often, think about it, once you skimmed a written piece to decide if that it is actually of interest, you want to read it, you might then scan the written piece for specific information. So what do you look for in this case? Well, you look for keywords, you look for names, you look for dates, you look for numbers or facts. They all provide quick information, and then you can look at the detail around those facts once you've decided that you know where things are. So are there any questions from anybody? No? Okay, great. So we're going to now apply skimming and scanning strategies as an aid to reading comprehension in the context of what you read before class, which is the Halifax explosion of 1917. Okay, great. Let's go to let's read the text.